Hi, everybody. Welcome into a special playoff edition of Lexus Sports Extra. I'm Josh Moser. Both the Heat and Panthers advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals as 8 seeds. The Panthers will see the Hurricanes, and now we know the Heat will face the Celtics. Boston beating Philly today in Game 7 of their second-round series. We pick it up closing minutes of the first. Joel Embiid going right at Al Horford. Three-point play, 76ers on top early. Fast forward, 2:30 to play in the second. Jason Tatum, little stop and pop. That would tie the game at 46. 30 seconds left in the half. It's who else but Tatum again. This time connecting from 3. He had 25 at the half. He was playing great third quarter. It's who else but Tatum stepping back over Embiid, buries the triple from the corner. Then 8:30 to play in the frame. It's Tatum again from distance. Boston is up 10. Tatum goes off for an NBA Game 7 record, 51 points. Boston wins 112-88 and is back in the conference finals in back-to-back years.
A team that we're extremely familiar with. Third time in 4 years, I think, playing them in the playoffs. And, you know, very well-coached team. They compete with the best of them. You know, they play hard, and they figure out a way to win games.
The Heat taking care of the Knicks in the second round. Ace-seeded Miami winning in 6 games. This team is playing their best basketball at the right time. The story continuing to be written. Now also back to the Eastern Conference Finals.
We'll take it for sure. We don't take any of this for granted. You know, it is hard to win in this league. It's hard to win in the playoffs, and it is really freaking hard to get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
It's a crazy story being written. Through all the ups and downs of the season, you know, a lot of people count us out. It just shows the determination and the will this team has.
For more on the Heat's upcoming Eastern Conference Finals rematch with the Boston Celtics, we bring in our insider, Ethan Skolnick. Ethan, at the beginning of the season, we were talking about running it back. That's what Pat Riley wanted to do. Does the Heat making it this far validate what he did?
I think to a certain degree it does. I mean, he was working under certain constraints, which is that you didn't have a ton of assets to move. And then also you were dealing with trying to stay under the luxury tax. But look, you make the Eastern Conference Finals for a third time in 4 years. I tweeted this today. Pat Riley has now been in 25 conference finals. I mean, he seems to know what he's doing. So I feel like as much as we can criticize, you know, this decision or that decision, 2 out of 15 teams in the Eastern Conference are in the conference finals, and Miami is one of them again.
Yeah, you mentioned the 8 seed. Remember, this team is really the first team in almost 25 years since the Knicks in 1999 to reach this point of the postseason. We've been talking a lot about playoff Jimmy Butler. Who has a better series, him or Jason Tatum?
I think Jimmy does because I don't trust Tatum's consistency. Here's the thing with Tatum. He was tremendous in this Game 7 against Philadelphia. That was the most predictable result of the entire NBA season. There was no way that Doc Rivers, Joel Embiid, and James Harden were going to win a game that required toughness on the road. Tough-minded attitude was not going to happen. I just think Jimmy is the guy you could trust more, but I don't think he's the key factor in this series. To me, the key factor in this series is Bam Adebayo. We saw in the last game when Bam is aggressive, this team feeds off of him. He was unbelievable in that last game. He was the most physical player on the floor. He was aggressive offensively. He was everywhere.
Thanks, Ethan. Like you said, hopefully it's both the Heat and Panthers playing for a championship, and the two teams never making it this far ever in the same season together. Panthers taking care of the Maple Leafs in 5 games in their second-round playoff series to advance to play the Carolina Hurricanes. And in fact, head coach Paul Maurice, a former coach of Carolina, coaching their first game in 1997 after they moved from Hartford and were known as the Whalers.
It's a special place. All 3 of my kids were born there. So we spent some time there. And then life happens. It feels like a lifetime ago. So there's not the same connection over time. It's a great building. It's a loud building. They got a real good team. So it'll be exciting and fast hockey.
For more on the upcoming conference finals on the Panthers, we bring in our insider, George Richards from Florida Hockey Now. There's just this quiet confidence about you right now. Are you projecting this onto the Cats for the next round?
No, I don't know about anything like that. Heck of a run, though, for the Panthers, though, right? I mean, they've been looking pretty good.
They're actually the underdogs going into this series. How much should they be based on how they've played the first 2 rounds?
Well, Vegas hasn't gotten anything right just yet, right? I mean, the Panthers have 8 wins in these playoffs, and they haven't been favored in a single game. So I think Florida likes playing the underdog role. They enjoy being the team that nobody thinks should be here, could be here, would be here. We've heard Matthew Tkachuk say that. None of you had us here, and he's right. Nobody had them here. And I think they enjoy that. As far as Carolina goes, they're not the big-name team like Boston or Toronto, but they could be a much tougher opponent.
In that first round, Alex Lyon was starting in net. Sergei Bobrovsky has taken over. George, he's the highest paid goalie in the NHL. How much does this run validate his contract, especially if they advance to the Stanley Cup Finals?
Well, that's what he was brought in here for, right? I mean, the Florida Panthers back in 2018-19, before that, when Sergei was playing for the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Florida Panthers said, what is this team missing? A goalie, a big-time goalie. So Florida went out and signed Sergei Bobrovsky to what was then the biggest contract in franchise history. For the first couple seasons, it didn't really work out. Sergei was inconsistent. But this is why he was brought in here, to be the guy. Sergei Bobrovsky earning that money today.
George Richards, everyone, the most plugged-in man when it comes inside that Panthers locker room. We appreciate you being here as always. Great time.
All right, thank you, Josh.
And there's so much buzz around the city when teams are winning. And remember, the Dolphins coming off a playoff appearance in this city. Very excited for year 2 under Mike McDaniel. Hoping to find a role in the wide receiver room is Chosen Anderson, the SoFlo pro that starred at South Plantation High, inking a 1-year deal this offseason to come home. After playing for multiple teams last season, he knew he couldn't play for anybody else.
They told me, just still assess things, but, my heart led me to, being here. And, I took my time with making this decision and, made sure it was aligned with my purpose in life and what truly matters. And then my ultimate goals of what I'm here to accomplish in playing football.
Extra points.
For more on the NFL and the Dolphins, we bring in our insider super agent, Drew Rosenhaus. News of the day, the Dolphins signing offensive tackle Isaiah Wynn, former Patriot. Drew, what do you make of the signing?
I think it's a big signing. I think it's a great signing because this guy can fill a hole at right tackle and can play left tackle. Now, right now, the Dolphins project Austin Jackson, the former first-round pick, to be their starting right tackle. They did not pick up his option. So that tells you he's had somewhat of an underwhelming career. And it sounds like for a 1-year deal, they got a value. Players want to come and play here. And the Dolphins lately have signed some guys, including Wynn, that can help this football team.
Drew, we understand these international games are great, growing the game, but you've got a lot of clients that participate in them. There's a lot of travel. You're switching your body clock around. How much do your clients enjoy playing in these games and basically these retrofitted stadiums?
I don't think the guys do enjoy the international games at all. It is difficult. It is a weird thing to do during the season, to give up a home game for one team and to travel that far and in such an unusual environment. I think for the most part, players look at it as an inconvenience, but they also understand the NFL is a business. And the better the NFL does, the higher the salary cap's going to be. And international football is a cash cow.
You also represent Tyreek Hill. I know you've talked to him. How disappointed is he that he's not playing the Chiefs in Arrowhead?
We didn't discuss this topic, but Tyreek has been very outgoing in his enthusiasm for going back to Arrowhead. So obviously, it's got to be a bummer for him and the Chiefs, to go up against an iconic player, their best receiver in the history of the franchise. So, I don't know, that was a weird move by the NFL. I would have picked a different matchup. And I thought that matchup would have been amazing for prime time and, a premier game. But obviously they wanted to have a big-time opponent and an exciting game for the Germany game.
We just need to fast forward to September. Kickoff week 1. Here we are with anticipation.
We're not that far away. We're in OTAs now in mid-May, and then before you know it, it'll be June in minicamp and then training camp in July. So the football season's right around the corner.
Thank you, as always, for providing the insight. We love having you on the show.
You bet, Josh.
The one and only Drew Rosenhaus. We're just getting started on Lexus Sports Extra. It's time for our first commercial break. We've got to pay some bills. We're back in 125 seconds. Don't go anywhere.